Gonna try, gonna try, gonna try. Work till I die, till I die, till I die. I'm gonna fail and get up, cause I'm not giving up on my dream.
Hi my lovely Frosty Fam, it's me, Karen Frost, here at Nail Decadence. Welcome to my channel, welcome one and all. In this video we will be doing, I mean me, I'll be doing an acrylic set, and these are the bits that I'll be using. Got my oval number 16 Kolinsky brush from SPD London. I am really getting used to using it now, so yeah, it's another one that I've added to my collection that I love. I've got these glitters, got them from AliExpress. This is from CC Nails Ireland. It's their perfect French white gel polish, and obviously the acrylic. So this is quite a basic set because the nails are just going to be all one colour, which is the cover pink, which is, I think it was warm beige, wasn't it? Oh my gosh, I only just looked at it. Dory strikes again. It takes me all of 2 seconds to forget something. Anyway, I think it's warm beige. So I'm going to apply that to all of the nails in as many beads as it takes. I'm not building the nails in this colour. You can do that. It's definitely possible. Cover pinks are generally buildable, so you can build the entire nail with them. They're core powders, so they are strong enough to build the entire nail with them. However, for me, I prefer to use them as colour only and then encapsulate with clear acrylic. That way my colours last longer, but also I like the look of clear over a colour. I think it gives it this really nice glass finish that I really enjoy. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. So I'll just use this for colour. So I'm not doing it thick or anything like that. It's just enough for the colour payoff. So as much as I need to get opaque coverage. Also, I have prepared the nails, applied the tips, and applied my thin clear base. That's already been done before I started recording. On the ring finger, I'm doing a full glitter nail, so I'm using one of those glitters from that 12-piece set. It's just the one that was on the corner. These glitters are stunning. They are so beautiful. You can see the colour shift on them. Oh, so lovely. And they change kind of different colours if you put them over different colours, if that makes sense. But I'm just applying it all over the nail. I've not put any in the background because I just wanted it as it was. I didn't want it to reflect any particular colour, but you can put a background colour underneath it if you want. I'm just making sure that I've put enough so that there's not too many gaps. I mean, it is a multi-mix, so there's fine pieces, medium pieces and large pieces in there. So you can definitely get full coverage with it as long as you faff around with the glitters like I'm doing. So I'm using small beads of clear acrylic to pick up the glitter and nudge it around, and then I'll just use my damp brush to pick up some more and add it on, and then go back into the clear acrylic if I need to add more. And again, whilst it's still damp, I can just dip my brush into the glitter whilst it's damp and pick up some more glitter in and add that on. So I'll just get that nice and neat around the cuticle area. You want to make sure your glitters are all laying flat and not sticking up, pokey kind of thing. So just try and get your brush to smooth them down so they're all laying nice and flat, so that when you go to encapsulate, they won't be sticking up and you won't file them off. Not that it really matters with iridescent glitters, but with metallic ones, if you file into them, if they're sticking up, you will get like silver colouring coming through, and that's where you filed into the glitter, and it will show up that it's actually silver and the colour that's coating them has been removed by you filing into it. Like I said, with iridescent it's not so much a thing, but with metallics it is a thing. So avoid that by just making sure all the glitters lay nice and flat. Then I will move on to the middle finger again, just adding that warm beige for the colour payoff. So I want to make sure that I'm also swiping the sides of the nail, trying to keep it as neat as possible. It looks like I'm applying it really thick, but that's how it looks on camera. In real life, it's not thick at all. It's a thin layer. Oh, made a mess there. That was a bit of a runny bead. Never mind, just swipe that off the index finger. Then I'll add my cuticle bead. Again, swiping down. So I'm making sure that this is seamless, because obviously we want full coverage and we don't want you to see where new beads have been added. So do swipe and blend the product into the previous product. There we go. I've got a bit of acrylic stuck in my brush, so it's not behaving very well. Always clean your brush. I didn't do a good job of cleaning my brush, and I've got a bit of acrylic stuck into it, so it's not excuse me, it's not behaving the way it should do. It's making my application not as neat as it should be. So yeah, that's my own fault for not cleaning my brush properly. That's what happens if you don't clean your brush. I will clean the brush, and it will be easier application. I can't remember at what point I cleaned the brush, but at some point I do clean it, because I get fed up of the way it's not behaving nicely with the acrylic stuck into it. If your brush hasn't been cleaned, I think I made the mistake of not cleaning my brush the last time I used it, and that's why I emphasized, I think it was the last video or the video before, I emphasized cleaning the brush, because this is what happens if you don't clean your brush after you've used it. So do make a point to clean your brush. It does make a big difference. When you finished your set, and before you put all your stuff away, get some clean monomer and give your brush a good old clean. Make sure there's no acrylic stuck in those bristles, because it makes application much more difficult than it needs to be, and that's because the acrylic in the brush is attracting more acrylic to stick to it, and then your bristles all stick together, and then all of that combined makes the application not as smooth, and it just makes everything just that bit more difficult. So yeah, cleaning your brush is really important, especially if you want your brush to last. So I'm almost finished with this nail, with the colour application, that is. Just make sure that cuticle area is nice and neat, that I've got opaque coverage right up to that point. And now I will encapsulate that. So at this point, I'm thinking about my structure and my strength. So I want to build my apex with the clear. I'm just tucking those sides in a little bit there, because the more you do with the brush, the less you have to do with your file. I like watching filing, I don't like doing filing, so I will try and get my application to be fairly neat, so that I've got less filing to do. Try not to build too much acrylic on the nail. You want your nail to be very close to the finished design, so that it has less filing to do. The temptation is to add more acrylic than you need, but it comes with time and practice. I tend to put more acrylic than I need. That's just the way I've always had a struggle with. I'm better at it now, obviously. You know, time and experience gives you that know-how, so that you can visualize better how the finished nail should look, and therefore not over apply. So a lot of newbies make the mistake, because of the way it looks on YouTube. I can't emphasize enough, the way it looks on camera, it looks really, really thick, but in real life, I promise you, it's not as thick as it looks on camera. So a lot of newbies will watch videos and think, oh, that nail's thick, so then they do the same. However, the way it looks on camera is not how it looks in real life. So do bear that in mind. You know the old saying, the camera adds £10 or whatever to people. It adds thickness to nails too. It's much thinner than it looks. Your apex should be there. These are very long nails, so they do need an apex, but it doesn't have to be a huge hump. So just bear that in mind. Doesn't have to be massive. As long as the nail has the apex in the back third, it should be strong enough to then be only credit card thick at the very free edge at the tip. You don't want it any thicker than that. I can't stand super thick free edges. It makes picking up things so awkward, and it also looks quite unsightly in my opinion. I don't like the look of that. I prefer it to be nice and thin at the free edge. It just looks more aesthetically pleasing, and like I said, it makes your life easier with day-to-day living. With long nails, you have to adapt the way you pick up things and the way you hold things. So the last thing you want to do is make it more difficult by making that free edge so thick that it's nigh on impossible to pick up a coin, say, that's on a flat surface. Anyone with nails will tell you picking up a coin with your nails on a flat surface is extremely hard if you have super thick nails. It just is. So yeah, try not to make them too thick. So as I've applied that bead, you'll see I pat out the back of it to blend that, and then I bring the front of the bead down to give me the coverage. So I'm not leaving all of the products in that place, but I'm leaving the back of that bead there because I want it there to build my nail. Then I'll add another bead to the free edge and make sure that is the right thickness. Again, I'm going for credit card thickness, but just a slightly, ever so slightly thicker than that to give me something to a margin to file into. Because if I make it the exact thickness I want the nail to be, well then I've got no margin for filing. So you want a small margin, but not a lot. And when I say a small margin, I'm talking about 0.5 millimeter margin to millimeter max margin. That's how thin I'm talking about with your margin, because you don't want to be filing forever, but you do want something to be able to file into to get your shape nice and neat. Anywho, so I've let that set up, and now it's time to file. So here's the filing for my Frosty filing freaks. If you're not interested in filing, do skip ahead to the timestamp that you saw in the corner of the screen. You don't have to watch this part if you don't want to. So in this routine, I am doing the cuticle area first. So I've got this rather pointy cone bit, and I'm using that to go around the cuticle area. You'll see in all my videos I use all kinds of different bits. I'm a bit of a e-file bit hoarder as well as a brush hoarder. I like trying out new bits and seeing how they do. With Handolly, because of the way the hands are made, the cuticle area is much higher than it would be on a normal human person. So I like to try out different bits that can get around that cuticle area without interfering with the cuticle of Handolly, because that eponychium, that proximal nail fold, it is a lot thicker and higher up than it is on a normal person. So you have to be careful with what bits you use, because you don't want to chop into it, because that would ruin the hand. So I'm always experimenting with different bits to get around that cuticle area without destroying the Handolly, because obviously I want her to last for as long as possible. I don't want to ruin her. So yeah, on a person it's much easier to get around that cuticle area, but I work around it. You know, I've worked on Handolly for years now. There are ways and means, but I'm always looking for that perfect bit to get around that cuticle area. And I quite liked how that green bit did. But you'll see in all kinds of videos, I've got different ones that I go around the cuticle area with. I'm always experimenting. Once I'd finished going around the cuticle, I take a hand file. This is an 8100 hand file, and I'm straightening those sides. So as you saw, my hand was cramping there. I did one side of the nails first, went from little finger to index finger, and then On the index finger I switch sides, and then I work my way from index finger back down to little finger, and at this point this is where I not only file the sides but I'm comparing. So I'm comparing all the nails together but also the individual nail to make sure it's nice and straight, because square nails are meant to be nice and straight. So you want to make sure that nail is not wonky, but also that they're all a similar thickness. So that's why you concentrate not just on the nail you're filing, but you look at the nails that are surrounding it, so that way you get a nice uniform set. If you don't have a filing routine, your nails are more likely to be different looking. So if you want a nice uniform set, then it's best to perform the same thing on each nail. So now that I've filed the sides with my hand file, I will use another e-file bit. This is a fine bit. It's a 5-in-1 bit. It's quite nice. It smooths the nail quite well actually, as you'll see as I'm filing away. It's not taking a lot of product off. You can see from the dust that's coming off. I'm not actually filing much off. I don't have the e-file on really high or anything, because I'm not taking off. I don't need to remove too much product. I'm more contouring the nail than anything else. I'm not really debulking. There's nothing to actually debulk per se, apart from on this one. Can you see that by the apex area? That was just a little bit too high, so I needed to bring that down a bit. So you'll see I concentrate on that area, just getting that down a bit because it was a little bit too high, and then I'll blend that into the rest of the nail. So use your e-file both up and down as well as side to side. That way you're, like I said, we're not really shaping the nail by taking off too much product. We're just contouring. And like I said, look, you can see from the dust coming off and what is landing on my dust collector, I'm not removing a lot of product. Don't add too much acrylic in the first place, because you'll just end up having to spend a long time filing that away, and it's a waste of product and it's a waste of your time. It's really hard, because I know I've said it a million times, but it's not as thick as it looks on camera, and I wish I could show you that, but I can't, because obviously I can't show you real life without filming it, and then it's on camera and it's no longer real life. So yeah, unless I could, see someone in person on a one-to-one, I can't show you how much thinner the nails are than they look on camera. So that's one of the downfalls of video online tutorials. They're good, don't get me wrong, they are good, but nothing can beat an actual one-to-one in person. I mean, a video conference call, yeah, is good, because you've got that opportunity to show a nail from all different angles and give comparisons. But as for a video tutorial like this, it's very difficult to show you exactly what it looks like in real life, because it's so zoomed in. I mean, look at the size of my thumb, it's massive because it's so zoomed in. Yeah, I don't know how to get around that to show you what it looks like in real life. I don't think there is a get around that apart from a one-to-one in-person session, which obviously is impossible for me to do because I can't do that on YouTube. Yeah, so all I can say is they're not as thick as they look on camera. Just, you'll have to trust me on that. I'm sorry, I don't know how to get around it. Anyway, I will just carry on contouring, and you'll see that those lines that I made by filing those sidewalls, I want to blend them in because I don't want an edge on the nails. We want it to be a smooth curve from sidewall to sidewall, a nice arch. So you don't want those harsh lines on the side to remain there. You want to make sure that you blend those into the rest of the nail. The nail shouldn't have any angles on it. Do you know what I mean? It should be a nice curve all the way around. and it should curve up from the cuticle area into the apex, hit that highest point, and then slope downwards towards the free edge. That's a nicely shaped nail. So blend it all in, make sure there are no flat parts. There should be no flat parts whatsoever. It should be a nice circled, rounded off all the way round. So I'm going to use another hand file and just take care of the free edge and the side walls just a little bit more. So it's a finer grit. I think this one was a 150, so it's not as harsh as the 8100, so it's better for smoothing. So I'll just make sure that that is all, or the side walls are all nice and straight and neat, and that the free edge is nice and squared off. And then I will use my buffing file to go around the entire nail, make sure there are no flat bits, that there are no demarcations from the e-file, and yeah, just finish smoothing that nail off. And you see I go around one side, go around the cuticle area, and then down the other side, and then I do the body of the nail. So here we go, around that cuticle area, up one side, around the cuticle, down the other side. Sorry, it's out of focus, it will come back. There we go. And then the body of the nail. So even with the buffer, there's a routine. So up one side of the nail, around that cuticle area, then down the other side. There was a bit of acrylic stuck by that cuticle area, so I'm just going to get that off with the 150, or it's a 100. No, it's a 150. I can't tell. No, it's a 100, that one. It's smoother than the other one that I used though. The grit on these purple pink ones is completely different to the white one that I was using. It's a much finer grit to it. I don't know, it just works differently. Anyway, enough about that. Carry on buffing the nail. And then once I've finished that, you'll see I feel it with my thumb as well as look at it. I stop, I look at it, I dust it off, I make sure it's nice and smooth, and then if I feel anything or I see anything that isn't quite blended in, go back over. And that's how you do it. So dust it all off, give it a once over, and I always like to go underneath the nail to make sure there are no frills underneath there. I hate that. I hate feeling anything underneath the nail. So yeah, I will remove any frills and remove all the dust. So Handolly has had a little wash. She's nice and clean and dust free, and now I'm going to do some stamping. So I've got this stamping plate and I figured I'd give it a go. So I'm going to just do it all the way down the nail, but as you can see the nail is super long, so I'm going to have to do it in two halves. So I'm just removing some of what was left on the side, so it's like removing up until a certain point in the pattern that I know I can recognize and continue the next stamp onto. So you'll see I'm picking it up where that left off, and then I'm removing where that flower ended so that I can match up the pattern on the nail, get it on there so that it matches up nicely. And Bob your uncle, look at that, beautiful. And no drawing, I didn't have to draw it. Isn't that awesome? I love stamping, I love cheating. I don't care if it's cheating, I can't draw, so you know what, stamping's great. Love it, I love it. Clean off my plate, clean off my stamper. Always clean your stamper with the sticky pad thing, what's it called, lint remover, lint roller. Always use that. Don't use acetone or nail polish remover on your clear stamper because it will trash it and it will go frosted. It won't be clear anymore. To tie in the white stamping, I'm going to do a French outline. So I'm using a striper brush for this, of course. And I'm going to try and do a nice neat line. Now, my Frosty Fam know this already, but for those who are new to my channel, welcome by the way. I have shaky hands. I take a lot of medication and they make me shake. So yeah, straight lines are my nemesis, but I will persevere and I will get it done. I just take my time and I go really slowly, and I always have my cleanup brush and some rubbing alcohol or some acetone on hand, so that if I make any mistakes I can clean it up and it's not the end of the world. I was being really brave and not flash curing in between. Look at me, look at me. Normally I flash cure in between because I'm quite klutzy and I tend to touch and smudge any previous artwork that I've done on the finger before, the one I'm working on. But on this occasion I was feeling confident, and I didn't smudge it. You guys will be so proud of me. My Frosty Fam will be proud of me. I didn't smudge it. Oh my gosh, I can actually do something without ruining it. Well, within reason. Yeah, this line went a bit wonky. Clean up brush and acetone to the rescue. Woohoo! It's like it never happened. Awesome. So I'm not piling too much gel onto the brush. You don't want to add your gel thick. It's better to do 2 thin layers than 1 thick layer, because not only that, it might not cure all the way because it's so opaque, but it will also bulk out the sides of the nail, which is not what you want when you want to keep your shape that you've diligently filed. So yeah, try not to add too much product because it will bulk out and you'll lose your shape a little bit. So just up them sides really carefully with that striper brush. I'm going slow. A lot of the time I will balance my hand that's using the brush on my other hand. You see I've got my little finger out and I'm sort of resting it on my other little finger to sort of steady my hand. And what you can't see off camera is that I'm also resting my arm against the table to also help steady my hand. Definitely propping yourself up makes a difference. Just having your hand floating in the air without any support will make it more difficult for you to do straight lines. So highly recommend supporting your arm, and wherever you can support your hand by using your fingers to prop them. I suggest doing so. It does make it a lot easier and makes the task more accomplishable than it does without doing so. Oh, made a mistake. Gonna have to clean that up. My arm slipped on the table, so that went a bit wonky, so I'll just tidy that up and then I can carry on. Redo that line. When I'm happy with it, I will move on. No, I'm still not happy with it. I want to make sure that the line is the same thickness that I've done on the previous nails. I want a nice uniform set, and that's the only way to do it, is to take a look at the other nails. So I will take a look at the other nails and see where I started that line and make sure that this line is the same and that is the same thickness, all of that stuff. If you're gonna do a set of nails, you have to pay attention to everything. When people say, oh, you just do nails, just a nail tech, they don't know how much effort and thought goes into making a set of nails beautiful and uniform. It's more than just doing nails. It's way more than just doing nails. I think it's really a disservice to just fob off nail techs as if what they do isn't hard. I guarantee you, if you went to anyone that said that that these nails are easy, I guarantee if you gave them the products and sat down and said, okay, recreate that set that I've done, I guarantee you they can't, because it's not as simple as, oh, you've just done a set of nails, easy. It's not. A lot more goes into it. A lot of effort, a lot of practice, a lot of time, a lot of tears, and knowledge. You need knowledge. Knowledge is power, and no matter what job you do in life, you need to know the job. So you have to learn, and you also have to practice and get better and get good at what you do. I hate it when people put nail techs down. It's so annoying. A lot goes into it. It's not just a simple, easy job that anyone can do. A lot of people start thinking that they can do it, and then they give up because they find out how difficult it really is. And I've had a few people say to me that I make it look easy on YouTube. It's not easy. This has taken years of practice and honing my skills, and I still make mistakes. And as you see, I leave all my mistakes in so that you guys can help learn from them as well. I learn from my mistakes, and I want you guys to learn from my mistakes. And hopefully, because you've learned from my mistakes, you won't make the same ones. But also, if you do, you won't panic, because you'll know, oh, Karen made that mistake. I know how to fix it because she actually showed how to fix it, instead of not putting that in her videos and making it all look perfect and la-di-da. Yeah, no, I'm not here for that. I'm not here to make everything look easy so that you feel like crap when you're doing it and it's not working out for you. No, I'm going to show you the mistakes because you need to realise that mistakes happen. It's not the end of the world. It is only nails, and there's always a solution to the problem. So don't stress out about it. Just keep practicing and you will get better. If you saw the nails that I did 5-6 years ago, they were atrocious, but back then I thought they were the shizzle. I thought they were amazing, and now when I look back I was like, oh my, how did I ever go out with those nails thinking they looked good? They look horrendous. But at the time I was feeling myself, and I make no excuses about that. At the time I thought they were awesome, and I loved them, and I was rocking them, and I was happy with them, and that's all that matters. So as long as you're happy with your work, that's all that matters. But don't let your clients go out the door with nails that look naff. Please don't. If your client's happy with it, fine. If you're not happy with it, then let your client know you're not happy with it and it's something you'd like to rectify. And if they have the time and they're willing and they want you to, then go ahead. But don't just say, okay, that you're done and I'm going to leave all those mistakes there and then. No, please don't do that. Anyway, I've waffled on a lot. And we're ready to top it off and keep it tough. So I used a matte top coat on the 3 nails that had the cover pink on them. Well, it's more of a peach, isn't it, really? I like this colour, this warm beige colour. And then I used a gloss top coat on the glitters to make them pop and shine. And they do look lovely, don't they? It's such a pretty glitter. Oh, stunning. The colour shift on it is amazing. And now we are on to the 3D work. I prefer to do my 3D work over top coat. Some people prefer to top coat around it. It's all personal preference. It doesn't stick any better over non-top coated nails. Acrylic pretty much sticks to anything, and I've never had any acrylic peel off or fall off when I've done it over the top coat, so I know it will stay put and it will, it sticks on just fine. So I'm happy to work over my top coat, that way I don't have to try and top coat around my 3D work. I like my 3D work to remain matte, but I don't actually want to have to polish it matte or try and avoid getting shiny top coat on it. So I top coat first, that's my personal preference, and then I do my 3D work over the top. So with the 3D work you use tiny beads, and I will say it once again, it looks massive on here on screen, but that's because you're so zoomed in. This is so thin, it's so thin, it's thin, paper thin, really thin. These beads are absolutely tiny. I'm using a very small brush and I'm just patting out those beads really flat and patting them towards the nail, of course. It's up to you how raised you want this 3D work to be. On this occasion I wanted it to be really flat, So like I said, I'm patting out those beads sort of paper thin. So I'll add a bead, I'll sort of use my brush to cut it and move it into a half circle, semicircle moon shape, and then I will pat out the brush. Now you see, as I pat out, I'm using the tip of the brush at the center, and I'm using the body of the brush to tap out towards the back of that bead, because I have more pressure in the body of my brush than I do at the tip. So you want to use the middle of the brush, the body of the brush, to pat out the outside of that petal, and keep the point towards the middle of the petal, and it just helps you pat it out really well that way. If you did try to do it the other way, it just wouldn't have the same effect. You've got more pressure in the body of the brush than you do in the point, so that's why we pat with the body of the brush outwards. And then on the center petals, just tiny little beads, patting and pressing it out. And then for the very center, I just put just a very tiny little dot in the middle. I don't know what kind of flower this is, I made it up on the fly, but you can, if you wanted to, make it more look like a rose or a lily or an orchid. There's all kinds of shapes of petals that you can do for 3D work. I just make it up as I go along. So I did that first one and I thought, oh, well, that's quite cute, I'll keep doing that one. So that's what I'm going with. There's no right or wrong way to do your 3D work. It's up to you and your imagination how you want your petals to look, and it doesn't have to be a real flower. It doesn't, really doesn't. And I like this flower. I don't know what it is, but I like it. It's kind of poppy-esque with way more petals than what a poppy has. It's like a cross between a poppy and a pansy. I don't know. I like it anyway. Just pat those petals nice and thin. Use your brush. When you place your bead, and after you've placed your bead, pat your brush on your kitchen roll to remove some of the liquid, because you don't want loads of liquid in your brush, because you want these to set up and be pattable. So yeah, take out the liquid out of your brush so that you're not adding more liquid to that bead, because you need it to start setting up so that you can pat it out. So now I'm going to do some leaves, and we are very close to the end of the video. There's not much more for me to do at this point, just the leaves. So whilst we're here, I would like to say thank you ever so much for coming to my channel, spending some of your most precious time with me watching this video. I appreciate you. Thank you ever so much. If you have not done so already, would you please do me the honour of subscribing to my channel? Join the Frosty Fam. They are awesome. They're a lovely bunch of people and I would love to have you. So yeah, click that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so that you are notified the next time I upload a new video. And if you've enjoyed this video or it has helped you in any way, shape or form, do please click that like button. It's a little way you can help me for helping you with the content. It also indicates to me that you're enjoying the content and helps my channel out with the algorithm. So if you could click that like button, it takes but a second to do. I'd really appreciate it. And if you feel up to it, you are more than welcome to leave me a comment. I'm happy to talk to you. So there is some video footage and some photos at the end for you to see the finished result. But that is all I have for this time, peeps. You take care now, and I will speak to you all again very soon. Bye for now.
You're taking my hand, leading the way, staying the night. Looking at you, making your moves, there is no silence. I wish you'd never let go. All this moving in the zone, I'ma lose it out of control. Yeah. Looking so sweet, but you're dynamite. I just wanna dance with you. Feeling that burn, I'm not getting out. Yeah, yeah. Baby, you make me lose my mind. Maybe you wanna stay the night. Time goes fast, I don't care. I've known you long enough. When we go, we lose track of time. You and I, we can stay inside. Time goes fast, I don't care. I've known you long enough. I know what I want, know that I care. Nothing can change that. Talk to me, babe, fall for me, babe. Need you to hear me. Never have I felt this way.
Someday soon, I'm gonna make